The transgender prisoner who is allegedly responsible for impregnating 2 female inmates at a women's prison in New Jersey is speaking out about the treatment she's receiving at the men's facility that she was moved to. Demi Minor claims she attempted to remove her testicles with a razor after being misgendered at the men's facility. Minor wrote, "When I began to bleed, I did not even think about dying. I just thought about finally having relief from the pain I felt." She continued, "Being here in a male prison amplifies the harm I once felt, from being called bleep to being called all kind of things, to being touched. I hate it all." What are your thoughts on the update to the story, Al? Let's start with you.
This is just incredibly sad, Claudia. I have learned so much about this case, and I want to share maybe a couple of things that you all are not familiar with. When she was transferred back out of that prison with the 2 females that got pregnant, she was supposed to go to a vulnerable housing unit where there were trans only inhabitants, right? And instead, they misgendered her in processing and placed her in the regular prison with men. And to me, that's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. Now, the question becomes here was when she did her entry interview with not like the warden, but I forgot what they call it at this particular prison. But that person said, some things biologically just will never change. So they didn't really believe in in her being transgender. And because of that, it's why she ended up in general population. Because she was in general population, she feared for her life. It made her feel uncomfortable. She felt suicidal and she tried to hurt herself. And we know that when transgender individuals do not feel safe and do not feel comfortable, they are the highest in suicidal rates. This is just sad. And did you guys know that one of the women that she got pregnant at the old facility actually raped her? Had put a knife to her and forced her to have sex with her and impregnated her. Isn't this crazy? I just feel like that there should be some responsibility on the new facility for misgendering her, get her out of general population, and put her in a vulnerable housing unit that's going to protect her transgender rights.
Okay. All right. Q, what do you think?
So listen, so since doing this show and we began covering a lot of trans stories, I made it a personal point of mine to stop speaking from a place of I think, I feel, and I make it a point to actually reach out to trans people. About 20 minutes before we went on air, I reached out to activist Hope Giselle, who's a trans person, and I asked her about this story. And I said, Hope, I need some talking points. What do I need to say about this story? And I took some notes. Number one, Hope said, for one, this shows that the prison system is just not ready to facilitate trans people. She said, 2, that there are prisons that have, like Al said, units that are specifically for trans people. She said, number 3, there was also at the women's prison, you could have placed her in the population of women who are unable to get pregnant. All of these prisons do have an older women segment that she could have been placed in that segment because she still had functioning male genitalia. And then, Hope also posed the question, is our job in prison to rehabilitate people, or is it to just throw them to the wolves? If we're there to rehabilitate, then we need to find a way to facilitate trans people. And if we're just there to throw them to the wolves, then, keep doing what you're doing. But I definitely found the housing trans prisoners who still have functioning male genitalia amongst the population of women who can't get pregnant is a great idea. And it's a great, easy, non-cost fix.
Great points. I'm glad you spoke to Hope about this. That's great perspective. Agreed. The prison system absolutely, and like much of life in society, is not adjusted and not up to speed with how to deal with the trans community. I think both places that she was placed was a injustice. She should not have been placed in the women's prison, especially with women of childbearing age. We would never have thought this would happen, but guess what? It did. And Al saying by rape, I haven't heard that, but whether it was rape or consensual, that's something that could happen when this, is the situation. Then to turn around and place her in a men's facility. In both cases, I believe she was abused in both instances, which is not right. So it is long time to start putting some money aside, legislation, budgets, to address this in the prison system, in schools.
Can I
in
ask a
school.
question? Can I ask a question?
Mhm.
Okay, if I don't want to offend anybody, I'm just asking a question. If you're trans, if I'm a trans woman, I don't identify as a man, but I still have the men parts. If I am in prison and I meet a woman that I am attracted to as another woman on another woman, and I have feelings and I want to be intimate with that person, who defines how we're supposed to have sex?
I don't have the answer to that, but something else that Hope also pointed out to me is that sex happens in prison all the time. Like all the time. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like they committed some super duper atrocious
Right.
crime by having sex. That's why, honestly, just based on the few bullet points that she gave me, if we have to do a quick and dirty right now with trans prisoners, place them with women of non-childbearing age. Problem solved.
Right.
Okay.
A lot of sex with prison guards, with each other. It's a whole mess, the prison system.